Hey friends, we are back again, Strip Club Talk. That is Jade. I'm Danny. Jade, how are you today?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. We're getting incredible reaction, getting some good
Yes.
comments and things on this show. I think this is our fifth or sixth. I can't remember, but if you've missed any of them, they're all on our YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe to those and catch up on all the last issues as well. Today, our Strip Club Talk conversation is going to be strip club etiquette. Okay, so we're not going to sit here and blast customers. That's not the
No.
point of this. No, our point is basically how you should act in a strip club and some of the things that people do that aren't all that great. So, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. First thing I'm going to ask you, what are some of the things that customers do that you wish they didn't?
Okay, so I know when you come in and you're so excited to just spend your evening, you're celebrating something, you have sometimes the influence of your friends behind you as well. And a lot of times, especially if you don't kind of come into the environment knowing exactly what it is to do there, you kind of follow suit. You see somebody do something and you do the same thing. And one of those things sometimes can be when customers just get excited and they're tipping you on stage and they decide it's going to be fun to crumple up those dollar bills and pretend that there is a basketball hoop on the stage and you're the target, you're the backboard. So
Yeah,
they start tossing these balled up dollar bills, which is so much fun to them, and I get it. But then what happens is we get off stage and there's a busy room and we have to take all the big balls of money and uncrumple them, and it takes another 15 minutes, which takes us off the floor for a little bit more time. So that is one pet peeve of mine, and I did talk about that in a previous video of mine if you did follow that on my channel. um, Another thing, and this is maybe just a me thing, only specific to me in general, because I do have a tattoo on my side that has words. And so a lot of times I'll be on stage and guys are like, what does that say? And I'm
hmm,
like, I'll tell you later. Because in
yeah,
my mind, I'm like, I only have 2.5 minutes left in this song and I'm trying to make some money.
yeah.
um, but those are just a few things off the top of my head. Another thing might be during lap dances when guys decide to blow on you because, it's fun and they think you
Really?
like it. And I'm just like, not so much.
Yeah.
But,
I never heard
sometimes
of that one.
I'm
Okay.
playful. So I just kind of like, no, like, and I'll just be silly about it. But
Yeah. Back to tattoos. Does it? Because I always wonder when you want to ask an entertainer about tattoos, or ask anybody. I mean, in the grocery store, you wouldn't walk up to somebody and say, "Hey, what's that say on our? How many tattoos do you have?" Is
right.
it? I mean, do you mind people asking about tattoos? I mean, not necessarily when you're on stage, but do you? Is it a
Oh,
decent conversation starter for a
yeah,
customer
I don't mind
who's
at all. And it's always a conversation starter because there are literal words written on my side. And then I have like a dream catcher on my back. And my tattoos in general do mean, all of them mean something to me. And I've thought about it before I got them. So I don't mind it at all. It's actually a great conversation starter, I think,
Mhm.
especially when you don't know what else to say. You see that and you're like, oh, well, what is that? What does that mean? What is that? Because I did the same thing, because especially nowadays people have so many tattoos. So it is definitely a conversation starter, and I think it's a good icebreaker.
Yeah. Okay. And now things that people say that maybe they shouldn't, and I these are some things that I hear people say, and I wonder about it. And one of them is asking too much personal information,
Hmm.
and I get that the person wants to know you a little bit better. But there's just certain things, especially in the very beginning, that I think you're better off staying away from. People, they want to know about you, so they say, well, where are you from? Where do you live? What kind of car do you drive? They might be a mechanic and they're just curious, what kind of car people drive. But
Right.
I think from the entertainer standpoint, the customer they may be harmless questions, just a
Hmm.
customer wanting to pass time. You got to be careful of coming across with that creeper status because
Hmm.
that's how people want to know what you're driving. Do they want to know because they want to follow you home or something like
Right.
that? So
Yeah.
those are, yeah, anything else like that that kind of I guess makes you think I got to change the subject to something else.
Hmm. Yeah, and I do agree with you. Sometimes it is just a genuine question that someone's asking, and maybe the customer just doesn't know any better. Because if you think about it, if you're used to going into a regular bar and you're meeting just normal everyday people, you do ask those questions. It's just conversation, how it goes sometimes. But when you are in this kind of environment, that is something that you got to be careful about. You got to think about, she might not want me to know where she lives exactly. Like, if you ask the question, oh, where are you from, and the girl tells you, oh, Cincinnati, it might be best to steer clear of asking the next question, which would be like, oh, where at exactly.
Yeah.
Or if the girl says a more specific city like Milford or Batavia or something like that, like, oh, well, what street? Like, they might just be so genuine about it and not think about it. But to you, you're like, Mayday. Why do they want to know what street I live on? So
Mm-hmm.
those are the kinds of things that definitely want to steer clear of. Or maybe like what car you drive. That's just an honest question too. Sometimes you just are like being nosy. You're like, oh, what's her style? Does she like more of an SUV? Does she like a sports car?
Yeah.
Um, but obviously, you got to remember the girl knows that her car is parked right outside. And if you were somebody that has ulterior motives, you're going to remember exactly what she told you,
Mm-hmm.
and not in a good way either. So,
Yeah. I can always remember one of my first times going into a strip club back in the early 90s as a customer. And I walked up to tip a girl, and she had massively huge fake boobs.
mhm.
And I remember walking up to her, and I had no clue what to say. I'd never seen boobs that big or anything. And I walked up and I go, wow, those aren't real. And then I started thinking that was probably a dumb thing to say, but it was just kind of but I
Right.
guess my question, I mean, if you're out, you have admitted that your breasts are not real. They're not natural, I
Uh-huh.
should say. They're real, real expensive. But
Right. That's exactly what I say.
yeah, real nice to look at. But anyway, if you're at the grocery store, nobody's going to walk up to you and say, "Hey, are your boobs real?" But what about when
Right.
they come up in the club? Do you mind if people say, "Are those real?"
I personally don't mind. I know in the past I've heard girls like say that they're real just because it makes them feel really uncomfortable and they're so appalled that somebody would ask them that. But me, I don't mind. That literally, you took the words out of my mouth. That's exactly what I say when someone says, "Are those real?" And I go, "Real expensive,"
Yeah.
and it makes them laugh. I laugh. We move on because I mean, 9 times out of 10, when someone sees them, usually they know, and they only ask because they want confirmation. Um, and then of course sometimes it moves on to the next question. I've never felt real boobs. Can I feel them? And you're just like, nice try,
Yeah.
buddy.
Well, you know what? I've never kicked a guy in the balls tonight yet. Can I kick him?
Right.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness. Yeah, so you had some questions you wanted to ask me about DJs and things like
yes,
that and strip club etiquette when it comes to the DJ. So go ahead.
right. So since we were already talking about the customer, I'll start with the etiquette question that I had for you on the customer side. Do you mind if customers come up and request music? And if so, do you prefer that they tip at all?
Well, I think, yeah, sure, I prefer the tip. Is it required of me for somebody, especially if I see them throwing money on the girls? Because, I get tipped by the entertainers.
Uh-huh.
So if I know somebody's got a lot of money and they're going to throw it on Jade on stage if I play a certain song, then absolutely, let's do it, because I know Jade's going to turn around and take care of me at the end of the night. Money isn't necessary for me. I do know some strip club DJs that have signs up that say, strip music requests $20 to hear it sometime tonight, $50 to hear it the next 15 minutes, $100 to hear it next,
Oh,
$200 if I'm
wow.
going to get yelled at. And I'm not that greedy. I'm not going to do
Uh-huh.
that. If it works in with what I'm playing, I don't really have a problem. As far as etiquette goes, there's a couple of things. One, it irritates me when people come up and say, you know what you need to play? You need to play. And I'm like, really? What strip club do you DJ at that you play at? And, yeah, I
Right.
guess the people that just want to come up and do that. And I think there was a guy did this to me a year ago, and it still sits in my mind. Guy came up and said, "Hey, man, can you play some such and such artist?" And I said, "Sure, no problem." And he could have stopped at that, and I would have worked it in. But then he follows it up with, "Because this shit you're playing here just isn't working." Like,
Wow.
Oh, so you want a favor from me, but then you're going to insult me.
Uh-huh.
So I, kind of backed off a little bit of the conversation. He says, "Yeah, what is this shit you're playing?" Starts going on and on. The guy never got his request, just for the record.
Right.
You're
I
not
would
going
hope
to come.
not.
Yeah. So, and I guess the other thing, and Joe and I were talking about this the other day. Joe's our main DJ up at Diamonds Cabaret. We were talking about this the other day. The people that come up with their phone in their hand and they say, "Hey, can I make a request?" And they stick their phone. It's like, or I mean, I guess some people, it's loud in the room and they want to show you the title. I get it, but they say, "Do you take requests?" And we say, "Well, we try to work some in." Well, let me think. Okay, so then they pull their phone out and they start scrolling through. It's like, you mean you really just came up? You didn't even know what you wanted to hear. You just want
Right.
to I guess have control or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So if you're going to request a song, come up and request a song. Know the song you're going to request. Don't sit there and tie us up because we don't just work 15 seconds every 3 minutes when we talk. We've got other things going on. We're trying to run lights. We can't
Hmm.
run lights while you were talking to you. We've got to start going through and figuring out what our next 5 or 6 songs are going to be and things like that. So when they want to sit there and well, hang on, let me see if I can find one in here that that's like, and no, I don't play off Spotify, and no, I don't play off YouTube. I like quality legal music.
Good.
Whoa, did I
Well,
just get some stuff off my chest?
well, you did good. And thank you so much for answering because I actually have had customers directly message me on Snapchat asking the question about if you are okay with the requests of music from customers. So I'm sure they'll be happy to see you answering that question. Um, well, something else, I know this kind of trickles off of like a couple weeks ago. I know we talked about when I asked you what kind of pet peeves do you have for like new entertainers when they come up and request or just talk to you in general? But do you have any pet peeves for current or existing entertainers?
Oh, yeah. See, the new entertainers, when they're new, they're gonna ask silly questions, and I look at it like this, they're new, so or they're used to a different club or a different format, so I don't have any
Hmm.
problem with that. I guess my things about entertainers that are pet peeves, I think, as far as stage performing, are clicking of the heels. I can't stand the lay on your back, and we call it the Clydesdale clump. When
Hmm.
they lay on their back and they start doing this with their heels, because what it is, it's a little temper tantrum. I think you and I talked about this on another
Yes,
show.
yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
so that's one of mine. Ridiculous gum chewing is one of mine.
Same.
Screaming from the stage, "What the hell is this song?"
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
inappropriate.
yeah, I had a customer one time, and he said, "I'm going to throw $100 on the next entertainer that you play Pearl Jam for." So I thought,
Okay.
okay. Had a girl out there on stage, played a Pearl Jam song. Customer goes out there with his $100, and the girl starts screaming up, "What the fuck is this shit?" Well, guess what? He didn't throw his $100. Because I
Wow.
mean, the guy just wanted to, sometimes you get,
Right.
but I think it's the girl. The one, my biggest one is the girl that has to give you a report card after she gets off of stage. Meaning, well, let's see, you just played me 3 songs. That first song, I just wasn't feeling it. It's like,
Hmm.
oh, okay. Did you make money? Well, but I wasn't feeling that first song, or I and even if you do it once in a while, we may think you like the song, you don't like the song. If we're playing it for you on a regular basis, by all means, come up and say, I'm a little, we've been playing this one for a while. Can we give it a break? That's not a problem.
Gotcha.
It's the ones that every single time they have to give you a report card on how you did for them, like
Hmm.
like like that's our only job is to please the entertainer.
Right. And
So
I
wow,
think that that
I'm Mister Gets Shit Off My Chest today. Woo!
Hey, I don't mind. And I kind of like it because as you know, Danny, I'm not usually one to do a lot of communicating with the DJ. Just because I'm working, I'm busy, I go on stage, I make money, and I get down, I don't think about it, and I just move on. Unless it was something that it just really was difficult for me to move to, I don't really usually have anything to say. Or if there's like something I listen to on the way to work or like that previous week that I really wanted to try out on stage, then I'll sometimes ask. But
Sure.
I think sometimes it's like a intimidation factor because I'm like, I'm nervous, like I don't know how to approach, and like I don't want to. I know you're busy. Like half the time I come up there, I know I'm talking too much because you guys
Oh,
always have something going on. Like you said, it's not just, oh, the next song. Like you guys are doing things and getting songs ready for the next stage set before it even happens.
mm-hmm.
So I'm always just like, when I hear you talk about like the pet peeves or the things you don't mind, it helps me too. Just because like in the future, if there's something that I would like to dance to, or maybe not, at least now I have a better understanding of how to do the approach. So
Yeah, yeah, coming up and saying, "Hey, I heard a song on the radio today, and I was just curious if you had it because I thought it was a cool song."
right.
There's nothing wrong with that. Hey, sometime tonight, you're maybe, lately, I don't know. Been getting a lot of girls that are on a '90s kick lately, and a lot
Hmm.
of girls are coming up and saying, "Can you work more '90s in for me?" Things
Right.
like that. I no problem at all. And even if you tell me there's a song you hate, but I think
Hmm.
there's just like anybody, we like to be respected, just like you like to be respected.
Yeah.
And when people talk to you and when you talk to the customer wants to feel respected. Just,
Hmm.
I guess, when and some people are more emotional than others. We talked about how hard it is to get over something when somebody says something that offends you. It's different people get over it. Some people just tune it out right away. Some people let it carry with them.
Right.
I've had entertainers come up to me and, a customer said something that offended them and it ruined their entire night, ruined their entire money for the night
Yeah.
because they couldn't get over it. And, yeah, you have to find a way. Do I really know exactly how? No.
Right.
Oh, okay. So now we did a little thing on strip club etiquette. And I guess let's talk about,
Ooh.
or did you have anything
I
else
do
before?
have one more thing,
Okay.
and this is etiquette. I don't know how this just popped in my head. This is etiquette on the dancer side, and I don't want to say this in a mean way at all. I think, especially in our club right now, there's like a huge influx of new girls. And a lot of new girls that either have come from other places or new to the business altogether. But I did experience something within the last week or two of work that I kind of would like to address. And that is not necessarily table cutting, because I know I've covered that in past videos. But this one's more of like if a if a girl's sitting with a customer and the customer has obviously told her as another girl is walking by that he is waiting for her, and he does it in a polite way, where he's just saying like, oh no thank you, and he's politely turning the girl who's sitting with him down, letting her know that he's waiting for someone else. I think it is so important for the girl sitting at the table who's getting, turned down, to try to take that and turn it into not such a negative situation, and politely leave the table and accept that. You got to learn how to accept no, and that somebody might have a different flavor.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that's really hard to accept something like that and realize like everyone's got a different style of girl that he or she may lean toward, and that's fine. But for you to tell the customer, "Well, go with me instead. I'm better," or
Mm-hmm.
if she definitely sees him point at the girl, say I'm waiting for her, and then turn it around and still make him feel obligated to go with him. I just feel like that is so disrespectful. And then you're obligating the customer to spend money on you. And I get it, you still feel kind of a win because you're like, oh, I got him to go with me. But then he may take that and not want to come back because
Mm-hmm.
he feels, and sometimes you're talking to the guy who doesn't necessarily know how to communicate within those four walls too. So he just feels so like, pushed, and he doesn't know how to say no. And it's like he goes from enjoying himself to not enjoying himself that quick.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's something in the industry we need to learn how to do more, is learn to accept that not everyone is gonna love you,
Mm-hmm.
and that everyone, that's the reason why there's so much variety.
Yeah.
I mean, just the
Well,
name of the
good.
game.
You just led me up to another question, so we'll let the show run along because I've always wondered this: if I go into a club as a customer and I'm sitting down and some girl comes over and talks to me, and I'm talking to her, and I may get a dance from her or two. And then all of a sudden, I see another girl that just, I got to have a dance from this girl,
Mhm.
But how do you get the one girl? How do you politely, as a customer, without offending people, tell this girl, okay, I'm done with you. I want that girl now. And because that girl over there, I've already told her I want to dance from you, but she's afraid to come over because I'm sitting with this girl.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
touchy.
So go ahead.
I
Sorry.
said it's a touchy one.
It is. It is. And I think that there are so many different ways. There's not one right way. And I even tell sometimes, I'll tell customers like, look, hey, if you don't want to get a dance from me, that's fine. You can just let me know that you're here to see another specific entertainer, but do it in a polite way. And that's fine. I'll accept that and I'll move on. The other girls sometimes can't do that. And in that case, she might just want to say, oh, I'm taking a break for a little bit, or I'm not too sure. Or if you really aren't sure and you might still want to get a dance from me again later, but right now you want somebody else, you could say, go ahead and make some rounds and come back in a little bit. Or maybe come back around later. I want to have
Hmm.
a drink for now. Or you could just be straight up and honest and say, hey, I haven't had a dance from her yet and I want to try, but I still want to get another dance from you later. Like you said, though, if you're completely done with that girl and you want to move on, um, sometimes you gotta let that awkwardness happen.
Hmm.
And I know it's awful, but I think if the girl is smart, she'll realize that. She'll see you can politely turn her down and just say, not right now. And then clearly, if you say that to me and then I later see you go upstairs with someone else, I kind of will get that. I kind
Hmm.
of, okay, he's moved on, he's going with her. And you sometimes you have to run the risk of the one girl who you now have moved on from getting shitty with you. And it's unfortunate that anybody would treat you that way just because you decided to spend your money elsewhere.
Hmm.
Um, but sometimes it's going to happen. But as long as I feel like you remain polite, then that's on her if she wants to
Yeah.
get mad.
I mean, there's been times that I've left the club just because I don't want to. I can't get rid of this girl.
Hmm.
I mean, I just
Yeah.
so I've just left
See,
and ruined my night. And yeah, I've
exactly.
always wondered how to do that.
Yeah. And like I said, there are multiple ways to do it, but sometimes I think it comes back to etiquette and educating the new girl. Because if the new girl doesn't learn that from the beginning and she doesn't get educated right out of the gate, she's going to learn that bad habit of, sitting down with that customer and him clearly saying, I'm waiting on her. She can't take no for an answer. And she's like, well, you're going to go with me first. Or
Oh
however
wow.
she decides to word it. And then, like you said, sometimes the customer feels so uncomfortable they leave and never come back.
Hmm.
Then there goes him spending any money at the club. And I don't
Yeah.
know about the girl who can't handle being told no, but even if he's not spending money on me, I'd rather him still have spent his money because we're all in this together.
Hmm.
We're all here to make money. And maybe, yeah, he's not going to spend money on me, but the next guy will. So it's one of those things that the girls just have to learn to accept the no, and your time will come.
Yeah. Customers are allowed to have a style of entertainer. They're allowed to
Mhm.
say, "I like brunettes, I like blondes, I like tall
Exactly.
girls, I like short girls, I like big boobs, I like small boobs, I like
Yes.
black women, I like Puerto Rican women, I like
Mhm.
Asian women." They're
Right.
allowed to have a flavor,
Exactly.
and there's
That's
nothing
just
wrong with that.
there's
So,
nothing wrong with that. And I tell guys that all the time because I literally have had guys tell me, I'm sorry, but I'm more into this. And I'm like, look, you're not offending me.
mhm,
I don't mind at all. I completely understand. And, as soon as I walk up to the next guy, I might be his flavor completely. And he might
mhm,
spend all his money in his pocket on me. So I'm not going to get upset with you just because you like my friend. Like there, it's not fair to treat him poorly because he has different taste.
yeah.
Yeah,
And plus, if you have a friend there that meets his criteria, you may go get your friend, bring
exactly.
him over, and maybe she'll give you, if he spends a bunch on her, she'll let's slide you a little.
Exactly. You never know. Or the next time she runs into a situation where you might be more his style, whoever she's talking to, she could, return the favor.
Hmm.
So,
Very cool. We did good today. 25 minutes, not bad.
okay.
So here's what we're going to do next week. We do these every week, so make sure you smash subscribe, all that stuff that the little squigglies are set telling you to do right now. But within the next couple weeks, we got a couple of cool subjects coming up. We're going to talk in one of the next couple issues, we're going to talk about OnlyFans. And a lot of people that have switched over to OnlyFans, and really what's the difference between an OnlyFans girl and an entertainer.
Hmm.
Kind of just because you can do one doesn't mean you're going to be able to be
Right.
successful at both. We'll talk about what it takes, the differences.
Hmm.
Also, I have a very good social media influencer that I want to come on, a very beautiful girl who's got a tremendous following all over the world. And I'm going to get her to come on because I suck at finding new friends, expanding
Hmm.
my channel, and I think that's
Right.
something that a lot of entertainers really want to do. They want to build their Instagram,
Right.
they want to
Hmm.
build their Snapchats and things like that. They want more of a following. So we're gonna bring in some people over the next few weeks that can help with that. So
Awesome.
until next week, Strip Club Talk. I'm Danny. That's Jade. See ya.
See ya.